Hello everybody, we are here with your Ymir god. We've only got a couple of gods left, Ymir, then it's Zeus and Zonqui. And we've gone through and done a god for every single god, and then we will simply restart over back at the start with Achilles, going back through it again, also being able to do different gods in different roles where it is relevant. For Ymir, we're going to be starting off with our Guardian's Blessing, 4 health potions, a Hand of the Gods, and a ranked up shell. This is the most standard support start right now. Every once in a while, you will also see supports not rank up the shell and instead get tier 1 boost for themselves. It's a little bit more selfish. This will almost guarantee that you don't die in lane without getting ganked. Getting ganked is a whole new dealio. All gloves are off for that. For Ymir, we're going to be starting with our 2. This is our Glacial Strike. It is going to be a slightly delayed cast in front of us in a rectangle. It is going to do damage to everybody within this, and it is also going to slow. Everybody that gets hit by this ability will take damage and be slowed by 35%, and that is for 4 seconds, which is quite nice. You can see Hachi right now not super far moving up to make sure that I get credit for that phantom creep by myself. This is extremely important because when you get credit for the phantom creep by yourself, you get level 2. That level 2 means we get a bunch of aggression over here in the dual lane, and you can see that because of that, we are going to get the first blood. Only one of you should be getting credit for that ghost creep in the laning phase. Whichever one of you has the more aggressive level 2, standardly, this is going to be your support player. Should be the one getting credit for it. That way they get the level 2, and then you can aggress very, very early and get first bloods. At level 2, we grabbed our 3rd ability. This is our Frost Breath. This is a cone in front of us, and it is going to stun everybody in the range. This is going to hit minions, gods, just like the 2. We'll hit everybody, minions, gods, anybody in the range, and it is going to stun them for about 1 to 2 seconds. It's a very long duration stun. You are also seeing in these fights, you may not know it if you haven't played a lot of Ymir, but you are seeing our passive. Our passive on Ymir is Frostbite. All abilities that affect enemies, in other words, our abilities that do damage. This is going to be our 2, our 3, and our ultimate. These are all going to apply this Frostbite effect. Frostbite is going to increase the amount of damage that we do against the target with our auto attacks by 100%. We will do 100% bonus damage with our auto attacks to targets that have been recently hit by our 2, our 3, or our 4. Not only that, but also enemies affected by Frostbite will deal 15% less damage, and this lasts for 6 seconds. So if I walk up and I hit this Yamoja or this Neith with my 3, she is now actually dealing 15% less damage for 6 seconds, and I am doing 100% bonus damage from auto attacks against her, not like ability damage. So if I hit my freeze and then my 2, it's not like I'm getting 2 times damage on my freeze. That is strictly only for auto attacks. At level 3, I grab my 1. This is a wall ability. You bring up a wall into the world. That wall is going to remain and body block players, body block minions for 2 to 6 seconds. This is most commonly used in order to catch up to somebody. So like if I use it on Yamoja, she has no way to get around this wall. Neith, on the other hand, has backflip. Backflip will get her over Ymir wall, but I can use it after he backflips in order to block him off and get him scared. You can also cancel this ability early. So back in the day, you were not able to do anything with this wall. A recent change to Ymir this year means that you can press this ability again and you will actually cancel the wall early. So say you throw down a wall and it's a bad wall and you block off you and your team, you can just click it again and the wall will immediately come down. This will also start the cooldown for the ability as well. So that cooldown starts when your wall comes down. So if I put it up and then bring it down, you can see the cooldown starts immediately. We're going to be backing up, and I am going to get myself some Shoes of Focus here. Going to give me a little bit of CDR. Help me get some mana so I can use my abilities more often. At level 5, we grabbed our ultimate, Shards of Ice. Ymir goes CC immune while he is channeling this ability, and he cannot move a large area around him. He will start to channel, and when you click this ability again, or when you pop it yourself, much like your wall, you can break down early. You could end your ultimate early as well. And you will do damage based on how long you charge the ability. Enemies
Enemy missing.
that get hit by this ability get absolutely slapped, and enemies within the radius of the ulti are slightly slowed while they are inside of it. On Ymir support, I like to grab 2 points into my Glacial Strike to help get out some damage and to get some clear. And after we get those 2 points into that, I start to max out my freeze. That freeze duration is going to increase the stun up to 2.25 seconds, which is a very long time for a stun, which is one of the stronger forms of CC in the game. I've got my Guardian's Blessing stacked, so I'm starting my rotations. I see that there's a Robin here. I'm going to hit him with my freeze and auto attack, and then my 2. I'm going to body block him off with this wall so that our Poseidon has some opportunity to get some damage on him. Robin uses his ulti. I've got my shell up. It doesn't look like we're going to end up needing it. I'm going to freeze down this Agni. Pop a wall so he can't get away. Pop my ulti really quick. I'm going to immediately pop the ulti. Pop a shell to try to keep us alive. And I'm going to start working my way out of here. Got to be a little bit careful. We did force a lot right there. Got a lot of ultimates. Got a lot of actives. Our purple buff's up. I'm just going to walk back and start this. I think my Hachi is probably going to be able to make it over to me. Yeah, he'll be able to make it right on over to this. I'm just going to let this sit here, wait for him to come, and then finish it up and start backing. For our next item, we're going to be getting ourselves a Gauntlet of Thebes as soon as I can figure out where Thebesy boy is. Gonna get that Gauntlet of Thebes. If you're playing a Guardian support right now, you should always be building Guardians. You should always be building Gauntlet of Thebes. It is just a super efficient item. If you're playing physical supports, I actually stick away from this item, and I would recommend going a much more aggressive build, but that is neither here nor there for Ymir. So for our official Ymir leveling order, we're going to be grabbing our 3 whenever we can in order to increase that stun duration. We are going to grab our ultimate after that because this is going to reduce the cooldown as well as increase the amount of damage this ability does. Then finally, we are going to increase our Glacial Strike and then our wall. Even though you get reduced cooldown on the wall and you get that increased duration, I personally like leveling it last for a significant portion of the game. You are only going to need those couple of seconds that you get from the wall because you're going to use them for things like body blocking, a dash. You don't necessarily need, I'm just going to sit here and try to body block some autos, that extended duration. Good little fight for us there in the mid lane. Going to grab us a Emoja, and I'm going to go ahead, back it up. Get a little bit closer to our Gauntlet of Thebes, and I'm also going to pick up a Sentry Ward. As support, in really every role, you should be buying wards every single time that you back. One more time on that level order, that is 3, 4, 2, 1. With the notable exception of I like to get 2 points into the Glacial Strike earlier on, just to help a little bit with the clear. Also gives you a little bit of nice damage output. But you don't want to get that up too high because then it'll start full clearing the wave And then if you use it on like a wave, you won't be able to get your theme stacks, all sorts of stuff. It kind of turns into a disaster. Ymir does a lot of damage as far as Guardians are concerned. Looking at this Agni, I'm gonna throw down a wall, see if I can't try to bait out the beads, which is funny. I ended up, oh no! Poseidon ended up sitting there tanking the tower the entire time. Goofball. We did actually bait out the beads though, and now Agni has dashed into us. His beads are already down, and so that's gonna be a real quick kill. Raven used his ulti, so I'm gonna go ahead and wall off right here. We actually might be able to continue diving into this. I'm gonna start channeling my ultimate, pop it right as I see him about to leave, and get the maximum damage. So you want to channel that Ymir ulti as absolutely long as you can, and then the second it looks like they're about to get out of the range, you want to make sure that you pop it in order to get the damage. You can also see that I'm playing very, very aggressive on Ymir. That is because he is an extremely aggressive support, and you should be playing very, very far forward. You also have very strong base stats on Ymir. A lot of people forget, but Ymir has a really high amount of base health, which means that you're a lot tankier than people will expect you to be. Now, Ymir does not have a traditional movement ability, and this is kind of his balance. Not having a traditional movement ability means that your positioning, because you want to be far forward and in order to be landing your slows and your stuns, it means that you have to put yourself kind of in a bit of a peculiar situation. But if you use your wall properly, you can also use it very well defensively. So not only can you use it to body block off enemies, you can also use it to body block off yourself. So if you are slowed, this will not work, but what you can do is you can throw it right down on your feet, and as long as you've basically got your boots finished, you'll be able to run past the wall and it'll go right up behind you. Now, if you are slowed and you try to do this, you will simply wall yourself off and you will feel like a moron. Agni dash is down. Just gonna go ahead and freeze him. I know he ain't got no beads up. We'll be able to grab a free kill right there. Moving ourselves now, it is about 11 minutes into the game. I'm going to start putting down some aggressive wards. I'm going to sentry ward on their red buff, and I'm going to throw down a regular ward over onto their purple buff. This is going to be very nice deep vision for the team, and we're going to start getting respawn timers on their buffs so we can continue to play aggressive. After our thieves, we are moving into some movement speed. I'm going to get a winged blade this game. I personally feel like Wingblade is a necessary item on Ymir support because you are going to have to be all up in the enemy's business with no getaway skill. You need something to get you out of the danger zone, and a Wingblade is going to be a great way to do it. They've got a decent bit of slows on their team as well. They've got Chalk slow, they've got Raven slow, Yamoja slows. I'm going to try to wall to get my boy out of here. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like he's going to be able to get out. I'm going to throw down my ultimate. Going to pop it. Going to be able to kill the Raven. Nita's already used her backflip, so I'm going to wall him off right. Oh my gosh, but I'm going to put it down. I screwed up the wall, but I immediately canceled the wall. I'm going for the freeze. Not going to be able to get it because his beads are still up. Luckily, because of that new feature this year with Ymir wall, I screw up that wall. I note that I screwed it up. I immediately bring down the wall so that way we can still continue to run through and get to the enemy team. Because we've got the wards on their buffs, we know that their red buff has respawn, so we can walk right over and do it as they spawn.
All that stomping has got me tired.
Wow! Very rude of you, Harvey. Now we're going to back it up. I'm going to get my winged blade online. I am going to get a blink on Ymir, another sentry ward, and then we are going to start working ourselves into a Pridvin next. So we grab this Wingblade. Wingblade is going to give us a nice bit of HP, a little bit of CCR, which we do not have because we went the cooldown boots, instead of the tank boots. But if we had tank boots, we would have a full 40% CCR. And most importantly, we're going to get that passive that when we get slowed, we actually get the zoom feat, and we'll be able to run away from any danger. Gotta use the sentry ward this time over at the fire giant. You might think that 15 minutes is too early to do big fire, but believe me, if today has shown me anything, it's that anything is possible at this point in Smite, as long as you build tanky, and the fire giant is not as tanky as it used to be. So we're just sitting here, and they're going to be able to go ahead and get that fire. I'm going to use my ulti for CC immunity and the zone. I'm going to throw down that one on my feet to get me and Poseidon out of here. So Chalk starts his ultimate. I used my ulti to get the CC immunity, so I was not silenced. And then I kept it channeling, even though I wasn't really going to hit anybody besides the tanky Chalk, because there was an Agni on the other side of that ulti, and I wanted to make sure that he was zoned out from my Poseidon, who was potentially in kill range. For our matchups on Ymir, our most important matchup on Ymir that we like him into is we like Ymir against gods that have dashes or no getaway skills whatsoever. So the Ramas of the world, the Artemises of the world, this is exactly where we want to be picking Ymir. Because of our wall, it means that they really have no getaway skill. And if you time it right and they try to use their rollout right as you put up the wall, well, they're standing in place, and now their getaway skill is literally down, and it is completely over for them. Gonna see if I can't get myself into range of this Agni. I'm gonna try to... No, not gonna be able to. I'm just gonna freeze on this Robin, throw down a shell. Unfortunately, it's not quite gonna come out in time. We did get the Agni beads off of this, so it's not quite the end of the world. So a god like Agni is actually a wonderful matchup for Ymir, because he has to try to dash away. If I can get those walls up in time, then I will be able to stop his getaway. Somebody like a Neith has a better time against Ymir because she has a leap. Keep in mind that her 3 is actually a leap now. For the longest time, it was like this weird in-between zone. But it is actually a leap nowadays. And so she can hop right over your wall. Now, if somebody does have a leap, it is not the end-all, be-all for Ymir. Instead of using your wall before they jump, what you're going to do is use their wall after they jump. That way, you stop them and make them run all the way around the wall, giving you more chance to catch up and get in range of your freeze and your slows. For gods that you don't want to go against on Ymir, right off the bat, obviously leaps, because those are way harder for you to deal with, and a smart player with a leap will leap over actual in-game walls and not just your player-made wall, because that will get them much farther away from you. And auto-attack damage dealers. Auto-attack damage dealers are very problematic for Ymir, because you're going to end up with a tankier, high HP build. You want to be wary of teams that have a lot of auto attack damage dealers. Yes, this means multiple hunters. Yes, this means god like Arachne and Mercury and Nemesis. All of those gods that are going to be building a little bit more attack based, they can be very problematic for you. Nemesis is her kind of own source of problems. She is just ridiculously good right now. I'm going to wall off this knee so she has nowhere to go. You can see now he's stuck. He's forced to pop his beads. While I can't stop him from leaping, I can stop him after the leap is done. And so you need to be careful against gods like that, because they're going to be able to build items like kittens, which are going to put you in a really bad spot. Also, Nemesis just like has a billion slows. If you're against the Nemesis, really make sure that you buy that wing blade, because it is your absolute only hope. I'm going to use my wall just to kind of block off this Woojer for now. I'm going to turn around, whip a freeze onto a Robin. But that's okay, because he ultis right into a Poseidon ulti. And now I'm going to chase this Woojer. Waiting one more time. I'm going to throw down this wall, so he has to run towards this way. He knows. Now I'm going to hit him with the freeze and the ulti. Pop that ultimate, because he's about to get out of it. And we're probably not going to be able to get any kills here, but we might be able to get this tier 2 tower. Actually, no, we're not going to be able to. We had 2 people back. That's fine. We just got to get out of here. Don't want to abandon my Poseidon. I'm going to wall it off just so he has time to get away, and we're going to get out of here. Gonna back it up. Gotta get our Pridvin. This is going to give us more protections, but more importantly, we're going to have 30% CDR right now. We're gonna take a look at their team comp. They do have a good bit of healing with the Emoja, the Need Sustain, and Robin Sustain, so we need anti-heal. They've got 2 magic dealers, 3 physical damage dealers. That means that we are going to get a Contagion instead of a Pestilence. When you're deciding between Contagion and Pestilence, all you're looking at is, do I need more magical or physical defenses? And then picking the one that is going to most suit you. Either way, they give aura anti-heal and they do not stack. Keep in mind that all forms of anti-healing in Smite will stack, except for Pestilence and Contagion. They are the notable exception. They are considered the same item. So while you can't stack a Brawlers and a Brawlers, you can stack a Brawlers and a Pestilence and a Divine and a Toxic and a blah, 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 blah. Contagion or Pestilence are just simply considered the same item for balancing. Now, as we're moving into the late game team fights here on Ymir, our goal is twofold. We want to, 1, initiate like this with a blink freeze. And then we want to peel back and we want to make sure that we're keeping our team alive. So I go in, I look for the big damage, but now I'm just sitting in the back line and I'm peeling for my boys, making sure to tank Phoenixes, making sure that Chalk isn't going too hard on them. And if he is, I can freeze him. I've got my shell up to help, whatever they may need. So your job on a lot of Guardians, and that I think people get confused on pretty often, is it's not just about peeling, it's not just about initiating. You really need to do both of them. And so I go in with my blink. I can utilize the blink into the freeze. And then I sit back and I peel for my squishes. This is becoming even more important as we move into a 3 tank, 2 damage dealing meta. You can actually see our composition is a good look at this. We've got a Ymir, a Tyr, and a Vamana, and then a Hunter and a Mage. We're moving pretty strong into a tanky meta, which means that it's going to be even more important to keep your squishies alive in the backline. So the second you're done with your initiation on Ymir, this is going to be your blink freeze. Then you're going to peel back, utilize the rest of your abilities in order to keep your teammates alive. So we were going into that Contagion for the 5th item. Afterwards, we would have sold our Guardian's Blessing. After that Guardian's Blessing, an item that I love on Ymir is a Relic Dagger. Relic Dagger is going to lower the cooldown of our blink so we can initiate more often. It's also going to lower the cooldown of Shell to keep people alive, which is great. And it's also going to give us movement speed. Once again, help us get away because we don't have a traditional getaway skill. Then we would have sold our cooldown boots. And we would have bought a hybrid item depending on what we needed at the end of the game. This might end up being a spectral armor if they're building crit. This might end up being a spirit robe or a Oni hunter's garb if you need percent mitigations, or it can even be an aggressive item like a void zone. Let's say you have a lot of magic damage on your team and you want to help them do more damage. Well, you get that aura pen out into the world, help your teammates do more damage, guys. And that is our Ymir.